Most people with a serious and persistent mental illness want to work. With the right type and amount of support, people with mental illness can work successfully. However, for many, the support needed has not been available. Individual Placement and Support, or IPS, is an evidence-based, supported employment model that gives people with mental illness the supports they need to work successfully at competitive jobs. In IPS, as soon as a person communicates the desire to go to work, an employment specialist works with them to identify their strengths, preferences, and abilities. With that information, and working with the person's mental health support team, the job search begins. The most important attribute is the person's desire to work.
Steve did really well up until he was about 15, and he got a job. Well, he was doing well there. Got a job at the hardware store. He was working in the inventory part of it, counting every nut and bolt and screw and all the things, and keys and all the things that they do in hardware stores. And he, at one point, was even up for becoming a manager in his department. Then Steve had some problems with drugs. It took them a while before they figured out that he either had drug-induced schizophrenia or that he had actually had schizophrenia, which caused him to take the drugs. They never were positive about that, but they think probably that maybe it was coming on because he was going into the older teens, and that happens with people with schizophrenia.
No one is turned away because of past work history, illness history, substance use, symptoms, or other characteristics. Anyone with a mental illness who wants to work can use IPS.
Historically, I'm not sure if Steve would have been considered an ideal candidate for our supported work program. However, a year ago or so, we received a grant, and the purpose of the grant was really to collaborate between the different departments, and with that grant money, we collaborate between the community CCS program, community support program, and the supported work program, develop these teams. And with that in mind, we talked to Steve about his interest in employment in the community, and he did seem interested. And
Steve was referred to me for support employment services, so we initially started out with the assessment, which is basically going through some questions and asking him what kind of jobs he was interested in, some of his past work experiences. We took a look at basically going through what his ideal job was or would be. And as we went through the interview process, he had also mentioned that he would be interested in being a police officer one day. So that's kind of, when we go back through this, is where we looked at wanting to be a police officer and then beginning to look for work for Steve. And kind of with the Dartmouth system is we begin looking for work immediately once the individual has expressed a wish to want to work out in the community. So I then approached the police department, as I knew that they had a car washing job that was just recently had opened up, and so I thought this might be a good match. And basically I started out that maybe one day we would take a look at with washing squad cars, and as he gets better at that and gets to know the police department, is then to look at maybe doing ride-alongs with the person that goes out, because they do have an individual that goes out and opens up car doors, they write tickets, and that might be an opportunity for him to slowly progress, and we'll kind of go along with that as far as what he is capable of doing and what he's not capable of doing.
The employment specialist works closely with the person's entire mental health support team and is involved in team meetings. Mental health information is part of the employment plan, and employment goals are part of the mental health treatment plans.
I'm a member of the crisis team here. I'm a therapist, and so what we do with Steve and with the other people that are in our community support program, CCS program, and case management program is develop kind of comprehensive crisis plans so that we know how to help the people that we work with when they're doing well and when they're not doing so well. So we try to work cohesively across the programs, just the way, we're talking about having these team meetings every week. We always make sure that there's someone from the crisis program there so that we know what's going on and can always step in as a support 24 hours a day with whatever Steve might need or any other person that we're working with. In Shawano, we're pretty rural and we tend to know our clients very well. And so we're able to build a really cohesive team. And so when we start to recognize that something's changing, someone's maybe not doing as well, or we're noticing maybe some more symptoms of a mental health issue, we pick up on that stuff really quickly and we're able to intervene, I think, a lot faster.
Whether the person wants part-time or full-time employment, the goal is a job that pays at least minimum wage and which anyone can apply for.
My name is Ed Whalen, and I'm the Chief of Police for the Shawano Police Department. Steve has really become part of our family, working here as a team, and it's been a great partnership, washing and cleaning our squads, keeping them nice and clean and vacuumed out. I mean, he comes in and he'll joke with the officers and getting things ready and stuff like that. Steve's part of the whole operation here.
There is no need to complete long pre-employment assessments or training. The employment specialist gathers information from the person and the mental health support team, and, if the person gives permission, from family members, friends, or previous employers. The employment specialist helps a person find a job that is based on the person's preferences, strengths, and experiences. The job can be part or full-time, and the supports that the person gets are based on what the person wants and needs. As the person's job hours and pay change, the person is able to get ongoing help from a benefits specialist.
You spend the time and you do the job coaching and you get them trained in and they get that first paycheck or so, and then all of a sudden their housing has gone up because they're on city housing. Their social security check has gone down, and so that benefit specialist counseling really helps.
The supports that a person needs to be successful at a job are provided as long as they are needed.
When Steve started the job, one of the first things to take a look at was coming up with a checklist of what his responsibilities were to help him remember, because at times he would have difficulty. He may start vacuuming and do one half of the car and not the other half of the car. He may start washing and then go get the vacuum cleaner and not complete the washing. So in one of our team meetings, we were discussing different options of what the cause of these things may be between Kelly and I and the whole team. They came back with recommendations of maybe looking at speech therapy, physical therapy.
I feel since this he has been having physical therapy, he's getting things cleaner, and his checklist, he'll go to the checklist and check it, and he'd come back and work on something else.
I think the biggest challenge with working with Steve is sometimes him trying to get what he wants to say out, and he's can be a very soft-spoken type of guy. One meeting we had talked about where his speech therapist had gave him a hint, a tap on his palm, and that helped him get his words out better.
It's really awesome to see that he's been able to progress and go to a lesser restrictive case management program, but yet a program that's able to build around him those psychosocial supports that he needs, and then to tie in supportive employment and get him to a place where he can work in the community and he feels fulfilled.
My vocational standpoint is I bring up the issues that I'm having at work. How do we get him from here to here to be more independent? And Steve has now slowly over the time been able to work on his own.
I guess one of the biggest things that I've learned along the way is, again, traditionally, maybe 3 strikes and you are out. And through this grant and with the collaboration of the team, instead of looking at obstacles, we really look at it as opportunities. And what is it going to take to make this succeed for Steve? How is Steve going to be gainfully employed in the community? What kind of relationships has he made really outside of just the intimate team that he works with, the community members at large, his family? I'm sure his parents are extremely proud of his accomplishments. So again, I just think at looking at opportunities instead of obstacles has been kind of the biggest learning lesson for me.